Assassin's Creed, or as the Americans like to pronounce it, Assassin's Creed, is a franchise that's been going strong for 19 years now. Since the release of Assassin's Creed 2 in 2009, the game has had an almost yearly release schedule, and on certain occasions there's even been 2 games released at the same time. There have also been numerous remasters, remakes, and re-releases of these older generation games, and the one that I'm talking about today is very special because not only was it part of the first ever double release, it's also been remastered not just once, but twice. But before we start, my name is Shady, and I'm going through my trophy backlog, trying to clean up as many old platinums as I possibly can in an attempt to get my account from 51% average completion all the way to 75%. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation was released in 2012 on the PlayStation Vita, alongside the console launch of Assassin's Creed 3. It has 45 trophies, including the platinum. I've earned 33 of these, and the ones I have left are grindy as all hell. One in particular was borderline torturous, but I'm going to leave it until the end because not only do I want to try and build some sort of natural suspense to the video, it was also the last trophy that I got. So, first trophy that I earned since booting this up again was for shooting 50 enemies with the poison dart from haystacks. I was relatively close to getting this one, so it didn't take too long, but I do, however, have a bunch of miscellaneous trophies just like this that did take a very long time, and I figured that I could make the best progress towards them while going for all of the collectibles. I found all the fucking diary pages, okay? Collecting all of the alligator eggs was especially fun because I, like most, enjoy doing the same 2-button QuickTime event 12 times in succession. There's 10 Mayan statues to collect. 8 of them are your typical free roam affair, but there are 2 of them hiding in story missions that I had to replay, and shocker, it wasn't in the one that I played first. Biofever and Mushroom Queen are 2 parts of the same problem. Mushroom Queen is for finding, hang on, you'll never guess, all of the mushrooms. And Biofever is for using those 10 mushrooms to heal all 10 fever patients. And if you can't do one without the other, then please explain to me how I got the one for healing all 10 patients 30 minutes before collecting my final mushroom. I guess it wouldn't be a Ubisoft title if it worked properly. The next thing to do is purchase all of these pocket watches, and they cost a lot of money. So much. The best way to do it was to use this little ship trading minigame and trade lesser value items for higher value items between ports. So the downside to this is that the ships travel in real time, not in game time, and the timer stops if you're not actively in the game. So this took a very long time. When I got everything running as efficiently as possible, I was making around 65k an hour. So while I waited for my little boats to go back and forth, I climbed many things and finally got the trophy for climbing 8,848 meters. I was at around 6,000 meters or so when I started playing this again, and this popped after 7.5 hours of recording. And I would go out of my way to climb up and over literally everything when I would route between places. So I think you'll understand that when I said that some of these were grindy, I really meant it. And in saying that, the next trophy was also a grind. Did 15 air assassinations.
From trees.
Whoa. Hang on, dickhead. How's that grindy? Well, yeah, so obviously in Assassin's Creed there's a lot of opportunities for air assassinations, and given that one of the maps in this game is essentially a tree biome, you'd think, yeah, this is going to be pretty easy. I know I thought that, but then after a while of getting air assassinations, you sort of start to think, probably should have popped by now? Turns out it's just super specific with a touch of glitched. Did you double air assassinate people from trees? Well, that doesn't count. Did you air assassinate from the middle of the tree? Well, that also doesn't count. Did you double air assassinate from the middle of the tree? Well, that definitely doesn't count. Did you try and do these slowly over 14 years? Well, fuck you, you gotta do it in one session. Idiot. I looked into this a little bit, and after finding a solid guide, I led guards over to this tree and got them one by one. I did have to leave and come back frequently to reset them, but it all worked out in the end. Now that that's done and I've made so much money that the weight of it pulls my pants down, I can finally go and buy that last pocket watch. But turns out I didn't need to buy the pocket watches. I thought that these were part of the Persona-specific collectibles, but they aren't. It turns out that when I did my initial Google, I got results for a remaster trophy and not the Vita version of the game. So I've wasted my time with this, and actually while we're here, there's no guides for this game. It's really, really difficult to find a guide because every single guide, including the trophy list on PSN profiles, has a guide linked to the remasters on PS3 or PS4, and they have different trophies, different map layouts, and it makes doing anything and everything just a little bit more difficult. Like, it's not completely different. Some of them are so similar, but it's different enough to make you wonder, have I picked up this collectible? Or has it been shifted to a spot so very slightly different that I have now missed it and I need to go back around and find all 30 of them again just to double check? And that sucks. Anyway, back to the Persona collectibles. Avalon has 3 different personas, and each of them has a specific collectible type tied to it. I had all of the precious gems from the Lady Persona already, so I did not need to worry about that. I found the last few Assassin's coins pretty easily, and if I'd remembered to check the Bayou for the last couple of voodoo dolls, I definitely wouldn't have had to worry about looking for the pocket watches because it would have popped already. But now, let's take a little break and play some of the multiplayer. You all remember Assassin's Creed's revolutionary multiplayer? It was a pretty good time. In 2012, Assassin's Creed 3 was expected to have the same old multiplayer people enjoyed, but the real kicker was that Liberation was also getting multiplayer. Multiplayer on the Vita at the time was pretty rare. I think that Mod Nation Races was the only other multiplayer game at the time, but that's just a memory thing, so don't fact check it. But yeah, anyway, Assassin's Creed multiplayer on the Vita, it's not like the console. And let me just show you a match real quick. Do you want to see it again? There's 3 multiplayer trophies. I had 2 of them. The last one was for reaching level 15. Overall, it took me about 12.5 hours. Can you imagine doing this for 12.5 hours? It hurts. Like, is there any wonder why it took me 14 years to grind this shit out? I played it pretty solidly while watching the Marvel movie with Red Hulk, and like, I went up a single level. That movie's 2.5 hours long. Some people in the forum said that they got it after 690 battles. I got it after 980 battles. So I can't work out what I was doing wrong. It was very difficult to find a guide online. Everything that I found in the forum said, yes, do this, play with this high level character because you get more control points. And then other people said, well, the control points don't matter. You just keep getting points with the low characters. And I couldn't make heads or tails of it. There was no strategy that I found that got me less or more XP. Your XP doesn't display anywhere, so you don't know how much you need to get to the next level. You don't know how much you're getting per match. All I know is that this little blue bar looks like it moves sometimes. I'm so glad I never have to touch this ever again. And now I can finally move on to the very last trophy that I need, and it's the very bog standard Assassin's Creed trophy of, hey, why don't you 100% all the optional objectives across all of the story missions? I did well enough on my first playthrough that I only had a handful of missions to do, and I smashed out all of these pretty easily. Only 2 of these stood out as awful. One I don't have footage for because I needed to put it back on the PlayStation Vita to play, purely because I am too protective of my original PlayStation Vita to hack it or mod it or anything. That terrifies me, so I had a PlayStation Vita TV that was kindly donated by friend of the channel, I Like Cabbage. I was playing it on that, and it doesn't support 6-axis, it doesn't support having a camera plugged in to do the camera puzzles, and one mission had both of those in it, so I needed to go and replay it on the Vita to do that, and if I'd recorded it, it would have looked like this, and I'm not going to stoop that low because that's some 2012 type shit, and I'm not going there. It's disgusting. No. Sorry, I got sidetracked. The reason it was so horrible is that the motion controls were insanely touchy and difficult to control, so it wasn't much fun there. And then afterwards, I had to take no damage in the final fight, and sometimes I would one-hit enemies, other times I wouldn't one-hit enemies. One time I managed to one-hit the boss, and then I couldn't dodge the standard enemy. It was a very, very mixed bag. The worst mission by far was Sequence 9 Memory 1, and it was awful for numerous reasons. For starters, you have to hold off guards for 1 minute, and that seems pretty simple, right? Well, if you get hit, it triggers a cutscene and you have to start again. And for every other mission, hitting the restart checkpoint button works a treat. It resets the progress, gives you another chance to do it. For this one, it doesn't. It's glitched. If you get hit and restart checkpoint, it doesn't count. You have to restart the entire mission. Don't know why, just another one of those fun Ubisoft things. So you restart the mission, watch this 2-minute unskippable cutscene with just the most horrid voice acting, only get hit again as soon as you get out the door.
What a quaint concept.
Usually when this specific guy hit you, it triggered the cutscene. Other times it wasn't him. Sometimes smoke bombs worked, but also sometimes they didn't refill, and the only way that you could get more ammo was to loot it, because it's the one type of refillable ammo that you can't buy from a shop for some reason. The whole ordeal for this mission, it was horrible. I hated every single minute of it. It was very, very frustrating. And by the power of small miracles, after trying it for over an hour, I actually managed to find a guide that said if you held circle instead of tapping it to try and counter, you just deflect every single attack. And I got it second try after that, so thank you so much to that forum user. Holy crap, you saved my sanity. Now, in case you're thinking, hey Shady, you're being a little bit dramatic here, just get good. Well, Ubisoft knew how bad this was, because this 100% sync constraint does not exist in either of the remasters. They got rid of it. And that's what made it so frustrating in part, was that every time I Googled, how do you do Sequence 9 Memory 1? Nothing would come up. The only thing I'd get were playthroughs, because Sequence 9 Memory 1 in the HD and the remaster versions doesn't have any optional mission constraints. It's a straight playthrough. But anyway, completing the final optional mission objective popped the trophy for doing so. And finally, the platinum. 13 years and 4 months in the making. I never have to play it ever again. Don't get me wrong, a fully open world game on the Vita, which is a PlayStation 3 era handheld, is insane. Like, it really is. The only other open world game I can think of on the Vita is Gravity Rush, and that was a first party studio, not Ubisoft being like, yeah, we can do something exclusively for PlayStation on their new handheld. Like, the console only ever got DS ports for the most part. That is how little faith Sony had in it. I reckon it could have run Lego Batman 2, the console version, real easy, but instead we got this crappy DS port of Lego Batman 2. And you know, that was a really good game. I would have loved to play a proper version of that on the Vita. The Vita, I swear to God, could have done it. And Sony just didn't support it, didn't push for it, did nothing. So thank you to Ubisoft for having a red hot go. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this video. As always, thank you for taking some time out of your day to check this one out, and I will see you later. Goodbye.